Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Impact Podcast number 2. Today we will be addressing a variety of topics. I'm Alexander Mian Profit.
I'm Isaac Ronald Keith Kirby.
And I'm Nicolo.
What? You forgot your name, dude? Are you serious?
No.
That's crazy.
You're just Nicolo?
My first name, yeah.
Alright.
Wait,
Okay.
say my whole name, they know it, it's on the poster.
Oh.
We should actually address that. We created a new poster for Impact Podcast. A lot of hard work.
Pretty
into
professional
that.
too.
Oh, Isaac Kirby, big dog on that
Yes
poster.
sir, yes sir, you know.
If we flip it, it's another story. Attempt one to go somewhere. Alright. But, so, I guess we can start off. We've addressed this in class a little bit when we watched the movie Interstellar. Actually, interesting fact, the reason that I took astrophysics in the first place was because I watched Interstellar and I fell so in love with it that I wanted to learn more about all this stuff. So yeah, watching that class, that was pretty fun. Doing a little project. So we want to talk about, we talked about a little in class, what's real in Interstellar, what's not. And so obviously one of the main huge things in Interstellar is that massive, supermassive wormhole. It's a theoretical tunnel between two distant points in the universe, which potentially could allow for time travel, a sort of time travel, under the right conditions. So wormholes have two mouths. One is a black hole, and the other is supposedly a white hole, which is basically a reversal of a black hole, and they would be connected by some sort of tunnel. And in Interstellar, the wormhole mysteriously appears near Saturn and allows travel to a giant galaxy with potentially habitable worlds. And at first, they think some otherworldly beings created the wormhole, and in the end, Cooper speculates, it's not the full idea, but that it's humans from the future who actually created it. When the wormhole in Interstellar was created, I have here that they assumed the wormholes are allowed by the laws of physics, and that the builders had exotic matter allowed to create the wormhole. And the exotic matter is basically negative matter that is needed to keep the wormhole open. That they call it exotic matter, and it's an obscure idea, but basically a wormhole would just collapse in on itself without this exotic
So
matter.
that's what keeps it stable, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So it doesn't shut up. Shut up, sorry. But scientists have never found a wormhole in our universe, and they would probably be found, or in another universe maybe even looking, by seeing odd movement in star patterns. And it was Einstein and Rosen, were the scientists who came to theorize their possibility. And it basically would warp space-time through gravitational attraction. Obviously Einstein had a lot of different ideas about this. Gravity's not even a force, all of that. We could really dive deep into just that. Anything else you guys want to talk about in the Interstellar movie that you thought was interesting?
So wait, did they actually go through the wormhole?
They did, yeah. That was how they got.
That was the one thing that's not scientifically accurate.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Well, because we've never found a wormhole. Also,
technically, as of right now,
technically we've created one.
We've created one, but we have not found one.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's more of a fiction part than fact, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, wormholes in science fiction actually serve a pretty useful purpose. They could serve a lot of potentially useful purposes, but some universes are so far away from us, or some galaxies, that even if we could travel at the speed of light, it would not be nearly enough, and our measly lifespans are nothing compared to the distances we would have to travel. So, theoretically, a wormhole is kind of the only thing that could allow human beings to reach certain distances. So that's called the interstellar travel problem, and the only theoretical solution that kind of has been proposed and makes some sense is a wormhole, right, as of right now. So, yeah.
So, okay, one thing, for the viewers, if they're not if they don't really understand what a visual of a wormhole would look like, one of the things I saw online is if this is a point in space, and if this is a point in space, this area is too far to cross, so the wormhole kind of bends space like that, and then the 2 points are right here, so the wormhole would allow you to go through the paper or through space like that. So
But it's in a 3D world. That's 2D.
Yeah,
Or it's
that's just a
4D.
representation.
4D.
Yeah.
4D, yeah.
Yeah, apparently wormholes also, if going through them, for a lot of them, in the theoretical way they would be created, would have a longer path going, most would have a longer path going through than just going straight and getting to it. Which
And
is
a
also
longer
interesting. Yeah, it would have a longer path, because it would wind and all that so much, so you'd end up traveling more distance.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So Nicola, do you want to dive in a little bit about, what were you saying, a wormhole's been created today?
Oh, no. That's going to be saved for the next episode, actually.
Oh.
We're talking about a little other stuff on this
All right.
podcast. But we'll talk about it in the next podcast number 3, the greatest podcast we're going to create. But I guess we can move on to other topics. That was kind of our first intro topic about Interstellar.
Yeah.
And now either we can talk about...
Yeah, we can. I mean, Interstellar. You know, obviously a lot about space exploration. So
If you haven't watched the movie, go watch it right now. It's
a good
long,
movie.
but it's worth
It's
it.
a good movie. So keeping up with the topic of.
That is a ridiculous
Keeping up with that's a ridiculous take. Keeping up with the topic of space exploration. So I don't know if all you know, but we recently launched Artemis.
America.
You think you were involved or what, buddy?
America. We as a
Kirby thinks you like
country.
engineer that up or what?
We launched the Artemis mission. Artemis 1, the first part of a 4-step.
Got like Isaac Newton 2.0 on the flash, eh, buddy?
Not Isaac Kirby, Isaac Newton.
Four-step mission. And so I have a question for you guys. Do you know why the mission is called Artemis?
Yeah.
Artemis is
Because
a
a
Greek
Greek
goddess.
Greek goddess.
And she was the goddess. She has like a bow and arrow. I think.
She does, yeah. And she's...
What's she the goddess?
The goddess of that's
she's
Ares.
the goddess of like the moon.
Goddess of the moon, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the other reason? There's another reason too.
No, you can tell me that.
Yeah,
Alright.
tell it,
She's
buddy.
she's the twin brother of Apollo, and Apollo was the other missions.
Yeah.
When NASA went to the moon.
Yeah.
And they wanted it to reflect change in the space program, so it's like it's the twin sister of it, but not like a completely different thing, because they're still doing the same thing. It's not like they're going to Mars.
Good job, Toby. That's good knowledge.
Yeah,
right
It
there,
is
bro.
good knowledge.
Yeah.
So, if we're gonna look at the background a little bit, they called the mission Artemis to enable human expansion across the solar system, and it started from President Trump originally, because he wanted to kind of have more equality and equity in the space program, because he wanted to put a person of color and a woman on the moon, because in the past there's only been white men, and the beginning goals
And
were
monkeys too. No, like real monkeys. Like real monkeys.
they were actually real monkeys.
Yeah, so they first sent. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Damn.
You know that? Apollo was crazy.
I didn't know
That's
that.
true. That's true.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
You're right.
Yeah.
The beginning goals were set to send human explorers 250,000 miles to the moon, and then eventually, this is like further goals past Artemis in like many years to come, 140 million miles to Mars. And then after the 2021 election, when President Biden was elected, he also wanted to fully commit to this Artemis mission. Like I said earlier, the purpose was equality, to have the first woman and person of color on the lunar surface. Also a long-term presence. So the first Artemis mission is just a flyby. The second Artemis mission is the flyby with passengers. The third Artemis mission is to actually put people on the moon again. And it's kind of the first step to a long-term presence, kind of. That would be a big step for space exploration. It's also revolutionary to the space economy, technology, supporting job growth, and furthering the demand for a highly skilled workforce, and to inspire the next generation.
All
Let's
right.
check the
Yeah.
sound quality
Yeah.
out there.
Thanks for everything's running smooth.
Nicola, I feel like you know some stuff about Artemis, little bombshells or what?
I would just say I just wanted to talk about really like how crazy the idea that we're in 2022 and like we're trying to go back to the moon in like 1960s.
Yeah,
in the
that is,
1960s.
it has been a while.
We're like sending
True.
people up to the moon. Like I would say, of course, our calculations, the level of calculations we are doing today, are making it so it's like 100%, not 100%, but like
Like a lot safer.
99.9%
Yeah.
success rate. Whereas like the stuff they're doing to get to the moon is pretty crazy. They would just be like not just sending people up, but there's definitely a lot more risk involved.
That's true.
So I just wanted to bring that up because I think that's really interesting about the
You
Apollo
know,
missions.
The ultimate goal, I think, of the Artemis missions is to create like a sort of human colony on Mars. Or no, sorry, not human colony. It's to reach Mars
like,
and establish
put
a
people
base
down. Yeah.
and get people
Yeah.
onto Mars.
Yeah.
So it's what it is it's multiple missions and each kind of builds on the other and it's sort of to
Yeah.
propel humanity into deeper, further space exploration. And Mars, if you want to go like futuristic, also can have some purpose there, having a base there where astronauts could potentially rest or get something or use information. Mars, like a base there, is useful for deeper space exploration,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
kind of also part of
That's
where we're
true.
looking.
You talk about how it's the biggest rocket as well.
Biggest rocket.
So yeah, it is going to be the biggest rocket, or it is because it got launched.
Yeah, it
So
is the biggest
big.
rocket, and also, so $40 billion were spent on this mission so far. So that's like all the rocket, everything, kind of everything combined. And I had a question for you guys. I was wondering, do you think $40 billion is worth it for this project?
Hot debate. I think it is. I think it is.
I think it is.
A lot of money.
Here's the thing. Trust me, I know I would want 40 billion in the bank right now. But Artemis, I guess part of the reason was it had a lot of fails. But you know, the money that went into creating the mission and like being as safe as they did with like cutting off launches and things like that and delaying them.
Yeah.
Imagine the whole actual thing gets destroyed. That's also a lot of
Yeah,
money.
one of them there was like a
So-
hydrogen leak in there.
It was like a
and-
fuel leak.
fuel
yeah.
leak, and it was like a certain percentage. It was like what I think it was something like it started out like 7% leakage, like, and then we got to like Kirby leakage, like 30% leakage.
Kirby level leakage.
We got to like 30%, and that's when there was like the leakage level was too high, so they had to call the mission.
Sure.
And they're just being
Lot
safe,
of
but
leakage.
I think it's like also good.
I think we
because-
have to invest
yeah.
in like exploration
Yeah,
space. I think
yeah.
we have to. Otherwise, it's like you're only kind of just looking at yourself on the Earth. You kind of have to look beyond. I think
Oh,
as a
true.
human.
I would say also if you
It's
look
just-
like back in time as well, like back in the days when it was like in Europe and there was like kingdoms and all this stuff. It's like there was a lot of money spent to like explore North America and all this stuff because
True.
it's not really worth it to like spend the money on whatever curing world hunger because not necessarily.
That's hella not
Bro
worth
doesn't
it.
care about war.
No, of course I do. But let's just look in the past. It's like if we're not moving forward as a humanity to bigger and better things, the entire economy is just gonna go down, right?
That's true. But
So if we just give all
Yeah,
our money
it's
to like
also
the
an economic
bums,
development.
right? Like
What?
Like,
Whoa.
like let's just think about this. Like,
capitalist Nicola.
just think about this. Like back in the day,
when he sees a homeless man.
back in the day, bro, if the kings gave all their money out to the peasants of the land, the kingdom's not going to do well compared to other kingdoms. But if they are out exploring, finding new resources, and
Why
this is the next step.
becoming
Like this
a
is modern day.
socialist bro?
Yeah.
This is modern day us going out and exploring and conquering. Like it's like conquest.
It's true, but you
Yeah.
could fix a lot of the world's problems with $40
I don't think so.
billion.
I don't think
you
so.
could.
No, you
And
can't
think
just
of all the
limit.
technology that came out because of the moon missions.
True. But
Bro,
like,
that's like half of like Elon's like net worth. You could just donate half of it, rip in like world problems, and keep the other 40 billion.
could, but it's not gonna.
With 40 billion, you're set, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we can all agree it's.
I would say moving
important.
forward is better, and people will catch up rather than trying to build from the back.
That's a good point.
Well,
That's a very good point, actually.
because what if you find some crazy resources that saves the world on Mars? Imagine that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And everyone can eat
that's a little
fat
unrealistic.
pigs all day and all this. Imagine that. Can you imagine it, bro? We're all at a table
No,
together.
I can't because that seems extremely unrealistic.
What if we find a resource that multiplies? Like we bring it back to Earth, and suddenly when it's exposed to some level of oxygen, it starts multiplying.
Like what kind
Okay,
of
it's like an
food or
infinite
something, or
resource.
What?
That would be cool.
Like what kind of resource?
Just like some
Sounds
type of
possible.
resource, like
that sounds possible.
like
Actually.
because the levels on Mars are just way different. The atmosphere is way different. What if we
So
bring
you're
a
saying
resource back to Earth?
you're gonna bring like a rock back and it's gonna do something?
Not a
crazy?
rock, but there's so much stuff on Mars that we don't know
That's
about.
true.
Under the ice, there's ice caps on both sides of Mars.
Yeah.
If we go,
Yeah.
that
I'm
actually,
interested in
oh,
like
we're talking about Mars.
going to Mars, mining that cobblestone, building up a little supply.
That actually brings me to our next
nether.
next point
Mars is
of
like
this
the nether.
podcast. Is talking about Mars. So let's talk about one of the most
Talk about
famous,
Mars.
or at least when I'm growing up.
Mars is like the nether. Mars is like the nether.
It's true.
I just had to say it. It just
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
interesting. I wonder if it's based off. All right, go back to
yeah.
scientific.
Scientific stuff. So yeah, let's talk about the Mars exploration and all the Mars rovers. Because I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, that's like what I heard about the most about space exploration. I heard about the Mars rovers.
Like reading The Martian and stuff.
Yeah. No. Well,
The
even when I
Martian
was
is
younger.
good.
It's a
The
good
Martian
book.
is good.
It's a good book.
We should.
Yeah. Anyway,
Especially
so the
watch
first
that.
rover, or the most famous one, was the Opportunity. So pretty much the reason this one was so famous, well, first of all, it was supposed to only go for 90 days, but instead it lasted for 15 years, which is pretty crazy. And it confirmed at one point water was on Mars. It was like the first original images that we got from Mars, as well as like our first like real look at what the planet was actually about. And you know, it collected rocks, took samples, etc. But the main thing it was known for was figuring out that there had been water at some point on Mars. And then at a certain point, we lost contact with it because it was connected to solar panels. So if you look here, this is like a storm. So suddenly, as the storm kind of got worse, we lost contact because
Okay,
it lost
we'll also
power.
put that image up, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will. But overall mission, of course, was considered a success, and since then we've gave a lot more rovers up to Mars. But first, let's talk about the weather on Mars. Actually, so the average temperature is a negative 81 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty cold. That's like I would be like shivering and shit. Like I'd be cold. Not bad.
No, that's fine. Good. I don't. That's okay.
And so there actually are seasons as well.
I don't even have to get that.
So the axis tilts 25 degrees.
Wait, what is that compared to Earth?
I would actually have to search that up.
Nicole, was you shivering and what? Like,
I would be shivering and
shivering.
cold, and
Yeah.
because, well, actually, in reality, if we did go up to Mars, I would probably be in like a base, so I'd be chilling. Anyway, let's continue. So,
you'd be chilling either way, but
so actually, in the poles in the winter, it's actually negative 220 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty cold. And summer is
can
actually
you convert that to Kelvin real quick?
summer is actually it's not below absolute zero. I'm pretty sure.
It can't
Of course,
be below
nothing can be absolute zero.
Well, there you go. I converted that shit. So actually, let me finish my thoughts. And so at the poles it's negative 220, but actually it's a cool, nice, beautiful day sometimes, and it's 70 degrees Fahrenheit at some
Really?
point. Yeah. So you could go out, get your little tanning on. Actually, you can't because there's no atmosphere.
So you just get burned by the radiation.
Yeah. So, and what is really amazing about Mars that we don't really see in other planets is the clouds. So they form on really cold days. So I actually have a little photo of the clouds. That's on Mars.
Interesting.
Yeah, you see the clouds there.
Looks like a mountain.
Yeah, mountain, and on top of them there's clouds. So they do form near.
All right, now I see it.
They do form near the clouds, near the mountains, because that's where they get they like precipitate. But it's too cold, so it comes down in ice. But the fact that there is like Earth-like qualities
Is there, like,
really
wind?
Can we
promising.
even have we
Yes,
ever had
so-
ice snow in like on the
And
Earth?
there's
It's called hail.
yeah, it's called hail.
Sure.
So
No, but
and then,
so wait, so it just hails on Mars?
no, it's like frost.
Like-
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
Well, yes, we
not
have, we
just
have
like
frost on
ice
Earth.
coming down. That's like a big chunk. That's bigger than
Big
hail.
hail?
Like a cloud of just ice. That'd be crazy.
It's like some ice apocalyptic.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right,
That would
keep
be
going.
cool.
So I'm about so dust. So and like we talked about all this extreme weather, there are also dust storms.
Yeah.
So
Seen that on The Martian.
and
Yeah.
pretty much why this happens is because energy is absorbed from the sun, aka like it just gets hot. Some parts get hot, some parts get cold. It creates some fat wind. So like wind is like gusting at some crazy amounts of speed, and it wraps around the whole planet at some points, which is crazy. So now we talk about the most recent Mars rover, the Perseverance. It also is it's pretty much all it's building on top of each other. They're also checking whether life is existing on Mars, characterize the climate, the geology, and prepare for human exploration as well, because as we know, Artemis, SpaceX, all these people, that next step is to use our money and explore and conquer these new areas of the world. Not the world, the universe. And the biggest accomplishment was a carbon molecule rock formed from an ancient lake bed that indicated that microbial life existed on the red planet.
Microbial life.
My bad.
That is insane.
So yeah, it could prove that life did exist. So
Yeah, I think there. Yeah, so there is. So that means there is proof on Mars that microbial life exists, right? Because of the ice, which
Does it
is
currently exist?
water, and
Does it currently exist or did it exist?
water does exist, is what they hypothesized.
Yeah, no.
I've heard something
Does
of
the
there can
life
be
exist? No.
They need to have
like
water
microbial,
sources.
yeah. But
They don't know. They haven't been able to reach under the water.
where would the
ice
water
caps.
be? It would be under the
It's
ice
under the
caps,
ice
right?
caps,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So
And
we haven't been
then
there.
that's where the microbial life would probably
Probably be.
Imagine there's just like a little Martian fish. That'd be sick.
Yeah,
That would be sick.
that's what I'm thinking about. Imagine how yummy that would be, bro. Dude, that would probably go for millions if we found that fish.
Yeah.
It'd go for trillions, actually.
Yeah.
Hit a little expedition.
We can find that. We'd be rich.
Yeah. Maybe that's
Gotta get there.
impact
Maybe
project
this
number
podcast
2.
will make us rich.
Maybe impact project number 2 is
Bring
little
back a
expedition. Bring back a Martian fish.
We get A for sure.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Bro, if we bring back a Martian.
Tough grading scale though.
Yeah. I don't know if we got the wow factor though.
Yeah. Wow factor's not there.
That's true.
Yeah. And that was kind of all my stuff about Mars, but I guess we can talk about the goals for Mars, like a future.
Alright, yeah.
So as we know, SpaceX Falcon 9 failed, which was their previous rocket, and now Starship.
So they're not doing Falcon
Takes
9 at
very
all
much.
anymore.
I would have to. I don't think so. I don't believe so.
So they just moved
I'm
on.
gonna fact check that later tonight. That's your job, Kirby, isn't it?
I got it.
Alright, big Ed.
Yes, sir.
Starship could push the cost to less than 10 million per launch. Pretty much, it's gonna minimize a lot of the costs and also make it stronger, better. Pretty much just newer developed technology. And the goal is to make the moon a proving ground for future missions to Mars. Yeah. So, what do you guys think? Do you think we can live on Mars?
I think eventually.
I think yes, at one point we will.
I think it's gonna be a really long time because I think
Not
even
my
even
life.
if
Oxygen
you land,
only makes up 0.13%
Not
of the
my
air,
life.
so you will die.
Oh no,
Yeah.
so live on is
live
different.
or have like a little base,
Have a base is
Live.
like possible. Live is
That's the same.
like
thing.
having a
What's
house,
the
like
definition
go
of living?
outside and like ride your bike down the street.
No, you can't never. Well, what's the definition of living?
Well, like
What about those people that wake up in poverty, bro? Is that living? That's
Yes.
different. Okay, then exactly. So why is
beef with pork?
Nah, bro. So why is waking up and riding your bike out of your house like? Why is that a definition of
Well,
life? Isn't just living
okay,
your heart
okay.
beating a definition of life? Your heart beats.
So how- chilling on a
living
base
means
camp
people are
would be
staying there
living.
like permanently.
Permanently.
It's not just
Yeah.
like for
it's not all
multiple years
vacant.
at a time.
I
or,
agree.
like,
I think you probably
decades.
will. So
Okay.
like multiple years you have to live for it to be your house.
It's like
Bro,
it's like people in France, in Paris. Like people don't really like Paris, right? Because whenever people go to Paris, they come back. Especially in the U.S., you see here every American who goes to Paris for a little trip, they end up coming back. So they don't
True,
love it that
true.
much. Okay, sorry, I was a little.
So they don't live.
Yeah, I would
You
say.
gotta live
I would
it.
So
say.
you're saying will there be like a permanent like
Yeah,
will we
I
have
think there
permanent
will.
habitat?
I think there will.
No,
I think there will.
I think so. I
think
think
it will.
at the point where we have enough the technology to do that, I feel like we would at that point find a better planet where we would want
I don't.
to put our people to live.
I don't.
Yeah, because who in their right mind is gonna want to stay there for like the rest of their lives?
Dog.
There's people who do
There's
want to do that.
definitely people who want to do that. For humanity, bro, think about that.
I guess, but I don't
Dude,
know.
imagine white Earth get wiped out, and there's just a
Yeah, but then why would we go to Mars if we have the technology to
If
go to
me and
Mars?
you were the
like I
last
said?
people on Mars. like, if we were the last
Google,
people.
stop me.
No, if we were the last people on Earth, well, Mars would be like the safe haven because we would be dead. We couldn't do anything to save humanity
I mean,
unless we could.
yeah, I guess you're right about that.
So there you go.
But
So
I don't know. I still don't. I think it's gonna be a really, really, really.
Well, that's
long
kind of
time.
an interstellar.
How long though? How long? Because think about this. Think about how.
Definitely not in our lifetime. I'd say.
What?
You think people are gonna
Yes.
be living permanently
Oh
on
my
Mars
God.
within our lifetime?
No.
How old are you
No,
gonna live to?
no.
How old are you gonna live to?
85.
85, and how old are you now?
I'm 17.
Okay, now subtract that difference from what you're
60
in now.
years.
So like 60.
60
no,
around.
Like, a little more than 60.
65 years.
65 years. Now, 65 years before us, bro. We were in like the 1960s.
Yeah, we were just getting the moon.
Yeah,
we're
that's
doing
when we
the
got to
same
the
exact
moon.
thing,
No.
bro.
Yeah.
We're going to the moon
Yeah,
again.
in
We
terms
got
of
to the moon in
space.
1969.
No,
we're going to the moon
no,
again.
no,
the
no.
7
The
years
amount in
later.
1960s, the amount of
we're literally doing the exact same
technological
thing.
booms that is crazy, bro.
Well then, how come we're not doing
Exponential.
it? Well then, how come we're not doing anything new in space
think
now?
of
We're literally just
technological
launching to
booms in the
moon
last
again.
10 years. Like how
I'm thinking of
there's a
them.
point where it's like like how much.
I'm thinking of them, bro. We just
How
created we just created a wormhole using quantum computers, bro.
Yeah,
Think
but
about this.
that hasn't actually gone into like effect in our
It
society.
hasn't. In 65 years, it
That's
will
gonna
though.
affect
It will.
us.
In 65 years.
So you think
bro.
we're gonna have?
I think we're gonna have. I think we're gonna have a wormhole in Earth going to Mars, and you can walk in your family and friends.
Dude. You are a psycho.
goofy.
You also
I
think
think
we're gonna
so, bro.
fly cars or what, dude?
Yes, I think there
No.
already is flying cars.
Dude, but no one's the point where people actually use them. No,
Yes.
no.
You're right. You're right. You won't be.
So
able to-
okay, just to get this straight, you think in our lifetime, by like 2090 or 20,
I want you to
Yes.
look back at
You
this
think
when you're like
people-
70 and be
you
like,
think-
okay, buddy. Damn.
I think you guys are wrong.
Bro,
It's
okay, so
exponential.
that's like the same as people.
Sorry.
Dog, there was no
1969.
internet.
Nickel, this is
Definitely
the same as
not
people in 1969 being
Yeah.
like, oh, we're going to the Mars. I bet in 70 years, or we're going to
Yeah,
the moon.
yeah.
I bet in 70 years
Your
we'll be on Mars.
parents-
We're doing the same thing. We're just going back to the moon now.
Our parents, when they were kids, thought when they were older, it'd be like flying cars and everything.
Yeah.
They thought it would be like a future. Like
In Back to the Future,
what was-
when they flash forward to
Dude,
2020,
I'd
they
argue
were like
that
flying
it is,
cars.
bro. I'd
Yeah.
argue that it is.
Huh?
The technology that's being produced that's just not available to public
No.
eyes is crazy, bro.
Like
Yeah,
what?
it
Like
all
what?
stays-
Like, what
in the
about that
lab.
rocket, bro? That shoots people up in the sky with like the spin thing, bro.
It all
What
stays
about
in
that?
the lab,
What is that?
bro.
It's called spin. It's called spin launch. Pretty
We're
much
not gonna
instead
set
of
up.
using a rocket.
I think we'll
they
reach
use-
Mars. I think we'll reach Mars.
I agree.
I don't think we'll have a colony of people living there.
Yeah.
I think
'Cause
you're
what would
wrong,
be the
bro. I
point?
think humanity is gonna
What
be
are
in
they going
such
to
a
do? Just
dire.
sit in a base camp for like the rest of their
There'll be
Hey,
astronauts who go up there and like
Yeah,
do
you're right.
like,
That would suck, but it would
experiments.
save
like get
humanity,
like
bro.
samples and stuff.
Humanity's not gonna be screwed in 60 years to the point where the
I
Earth
think
is
it
gonna
will, bro. I
explode.
think it will. I don't think you understand the
Not
level of
60
overpopulation
years.
that's going down.
Dude.
Overpopulation isn't the problem.
And what's the problem?
Like climate change and global warming. And
Yeah,
stuff.
but
which
that's
is
not
a
gonna-
byproduct of overpopulation.
Not necessarily.
No, not necessarily.
Yes, it is,
Not
bro.
necessarily.
No, you guys. No, but if we change the way that we're living, then it doesn't matter how many people there are as much.
Correct.
And
right.
the thing is,
Or
with like population
here's
growth,
the thing,
we
when
did
have
this
we
last
ever-
year.
hey, when
the
have we
population
ever-
will keep increasing, but it's not going to keep increasing at the rate that it has before. It's going to slow down. And eventually, the 12 billion person.
You don't think
will
we'll be able to
born.
cut down climate change and slow it down?
I don't
we'll
think
get
so.
our
I don't think. I think it's
things
gonna get worse.
together. It will get worse. I think it will get worse,
but
not
then
to
it'll
the
get
point where
better.
climate change is.
I
not
think it'll
gonna
get worse to the point where people will
Where
be
we're gonna have
willing
to go to
have
Mars?
no, where people will be willing to test an experiment and have people live on Mars. Yes, I think so.
No.
Yeah, in
I disagree.
70 years.
I disagree.
In
I
70
don't think.
years.
I don't
Yeah.
think. Maybe even if there are people willing. Okay, there are always going to be people willing.
Of course, there's gonna be people
People
willing.
will-
Yeah, but I don't think.
There's
there will
no-
be a mission that's
point.
like people are going to go live on Mars forever. I don't think we have the resources for that or the technology for that.
Yeah, we don't. In
Like
70
it's
years, we
so.
will.
It's also not even that. It's so
There's no
far to
necessity
Mars.
either.
It's
Dog,
like
it's 4 years.
It's like
4 years.
500 times the distance to the moon.
Great. It's like 1 hour to the moon, bro. It's like 3 days to the moon. It's like 1 day.
So that's like
It's
What's that?
It's
What's
4
four?
days to Mars, bro. Or something.
4
years,
days
sorry,
to
4
Mars. 4 years. Yeah,
That's not that much, bro. That's not that much.
Exponentially
4
more.
years.
That's 4 years to Mars. It's not
4
that
years
much.
to travel to Mars. That is
save
so
humanity?
far.
Okay, you guys are dumb.
And then 4 years back.
You're gonna look back at this in 7 years. I'm gonna call you boys up. I'm gonna replay the tape. One more motherfucker on Mars, and I'm gonna say you guys are wrong.
Bro,
You're saying
no.
wait, you're saying there's no one gonna be on Mars in our
No.
lifetime, bro?
No, I think astronauts.
I think
will
they'll
make it.
land, but they're not
I don't
gonna
think
have
they're
like a
people living
permanent
there.
settlement. Think about it.
They
We
will.
landed on the moon. We don't. We're only now are we even thinking about having a permanent like
Yeah, I
Artemis
think-
3 mission is to
I'm
have
losing
people
brain
stay on the
cells
moon
at this
for a
point.
week.
I think climate
And
change
this
is
is
gonna push
60
us.
years. This
I
is
think
60 years after the first
No,
moon
Nicola,
landing.
hear me out. You have the wrong impression of climate change. Climate change isn't this sort of thing where it's like, okay, 60 years, we don't get our things together.
Right.
Earth's exploding.
Of course
You know,
not, yeah.
here's what climate change is. Let me actually explain
Yeah.
this. What's gonna happen is like, in like 20-ish, 30 years from now, the main people who suffer from climate change is marginalized people and poor people in like Africa.
Of course.
That's where it's like hitting them, and then there's gonna be, the main impact of climate change is gonna be big migrations. It's not gonna be like the world is dead. and,
I
like,
agree.
yeah.
I agree.
Our kids'
Of
kids
course.
will be fine.
It's not
Their
gonna be.
kids'
They're not
kids
gonna
will
be
probably
dead.
fine.
But the technology we're gonna have and the implications that climate change is gonna put on the Earth in 60 years from now, we're gonna foresee the future and say that climate change is actually
No,
going to
I
put
thi-
us
I
into
feel
a great
like
heat
if
wave,
we had-
and we will have to go to another planet.
If we had
Why
that sort
Mars
of,
though? Why Mars in that case?
because it's closest.
if we have that
But it's
sort
a
of
terrible
tech,
place to
Nicola,
live. There's
name,
no
name another
atmosphere.
planet. Name another planet.
Nicola,
You
The
want to live
moon,
on like
the moon. You probably live on the moon
No,
better.
Nicola, if we
Yeah.
have that sort of technology, what's to say there wouldn't be some sort of
There's water on
technology to
Mars,
fix
bro.
climate change, like something that could suck CO2 out of the air or something like that, or could suck carbon emissions.
It's not-
there
that's not
already
how it works,
are like
the
things.
atmosphere.
There already are things that are like trying to do that. You
Nah,
don't think
I
the
don't
technology
think it
will
works. I
develop if we can already get to
That's
Mars?
not how atmosphere works. You can't create something and put
Yes,
it
you
in.
can. Of course
you can't
you
destroy
can.
something.
You can.
Yes, you can. You can
And put it
suck
where?
something
And
up
put it where?
Into the ground.
anywhere.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
You
shoot
can
it
use
into
those
space
converters
if you want.
No. You can use like those converters
You
that
can
change.
convert it